SMT Nation, we back. Nation, I want to discuss this topic here with you all. There is this story which came out over the summer about Hans Vestberg, the CEO of Verizon, and his potential replacement in the future. And I want to talk about what the company is going to be like once Hans walks away from the position, vacates it, doesn't get renewed, however you want to look at it. He's not going to get fired. That day is not going to come unless some kind of unforeseen circumstance happens. He is executing to the enjoyment and appreciation of the board and their investors. So he's not going anywhere on that respect. But when he's set to retire, and he's been working a long time and he's held positions at well-established companies, and there really isn't another job for him after this where you would say, oh, that's definitely a vertical move. How many bigger companies than Verizon, right? So it makes sense for him to kind of ride off into the sunset, but who replaces him and what Hans is handing them, right, as their successor. Well, what is that? What kind of position are they going to be in? Let's talk about it in this video. I'll link the article for you from June 12th, readers. That will be in the description. And ways to support the SMT, show your appreciation, maybe buy us a coffee. Those links are in the description. Okay, so first of all, who is going to replace Hans? I have said it on previous podcasts, and I've said it on other videos. Their new CFO, Tony Skiadas, I believe is going to be their next CEO. The reason why I think it's going to be him is because he's a money guy. He is the new current CFO. Seems pretty sharp. Most CFOs are really intelligent. The ultra bean counters, if you will. And that's probably what the Verizon board wants. They're probably leaning towards Tony Skiadas, right? Obviously, they need a leader, right? You have to get a company to buy in. A company of over 100,000 employees or whatever, right? You need vision, you need execution, you need people to believe, right? That's a CEO. That's what they do. And the fact that he'll be a money guy, that's probably what they're worried about. Reducing debt load, monetizing all things, profits and margins, squeezing every drop out of the lemon, if you will. Rumblings of Sampath, who is the current CEO of the consumer group, who was previously the CEO of the business group. He is well received around the company. He is believed to be no nonsense. He's a doer. He's trying to fix consumer if that's a thing. Whatever. But I don't think it's going to be him. As great as he might be, I just there's politics to this. They said they're looking for a successor who's seems to be a money person. So, and that's not Sampath. But Sampath would be the leader if they're looking for a leader. But anyways, whoever it's going to be, whether it's Sampath or Skiadas or some other external hire or somebody else within the company, which I don't think anybody else in the company exists to jump into that position. It would have been Tammy Irwin, but she retired too. But I just want to say this, right? And really the crux of this video. What is Hans going to be handing this new CEO? He is going to be handing the new CEO a completely revolutionized high-capacity network. Metro areas that are littered with 5G Ultra Wideband, with depth in small cells, C-RAN, fiber, Verizon's One Fiber, mmWave nodes everywhere, littered all over the place, macros fully upgraded and densified. And then with respect to spectrum, 200 megahertz of C-band across like large swaths of states. Places where there's 160, 180, some markets with 140, but with additional CBRS licenses, and the network's going to be fully modernized. Right? We're expecting this to maybe happen the next year or two, right? A new CEO possibly. So you're going to have everything you could possibly need. The only thing that he's handing you that's going to be tough is debt. And that's nothing to sneeze at. I don't want to downplay that. That's why I feel like it's going to be a CFO. It's going to be Skiadas. I think it's that reason. That is the only thing Hans is handing, is that because of this investment into the network. And then I will say some of the mistakes, I believe, from Lowell McAdam and some of that, Huffington Post, Bloomberg, AOL, Go90, whatever. There's some of that. It's not much, but it's still a thing, I guess. I mean, in my estimation, I don't even think that's on the books anymore in all reality, but the debt is there, right? 150 billion or something, 140 billion, not sure. The brand is still strong. It's still known for a high quality networking and prestige. I don't know, relatively speaking, where the brand stands nationally with respect to how it competes. Maybe that is something that could use some work. Maybe the brand is bruised in that respect, because right now the company that offers the most expensive plans is T-Mobile, and people still say Verizon is the most expensive. And that's just not even the truth. So maybe they got to bring in somebody who could do something in marketing and revolutionize the identity of Verizon, right? And maybe it takes a CFO to realize that that's the problem and maybe address it with some targeted focus. But that's going to be what Hans is handing to his successor. Debt. A great network to monetize, but debt. Right? So it's a gift and a curse, I think, to be the next Verizon CEO. You're going to get probably the nation's best network, right? With bullets in the chamber, right? With all the ammunition you could possibly need, right? And probably room for more, right? You look at the history of investment into the network, and you see the focus and the vision and the engineers and all those things, right? They're not perfect everywhere. I know people, they'll always do that. I'm just looking at it from a national perspective. This is what Verizon has been, and this is who they've become, and they're not perfect everywhere, but in a lot of places they are very good. And they've made huge investments into their infrastructure and their core business. And it shows, right? Nobody's built out C-band faster than they have. Nobody's built out any type of mid-band faster than they have, while also simultaneously building out mmWave, while also simultaneously building out one fiber, right? And spending, $10 billion on C-band build and $50 billion on C-band and mmWave nodes to the tune of probably over 40,000 nodes to this day. And that's going to expand next year, and more C-RAN, all this. So you're going to get a bulletproof network with incredible redundancy, incredible reliability. It's just the debt, right? And monetizing that network is going to be the number one goal. First of all, you guys tell me, who do you think the successor is going to be? You guys think it's going to be Sampath? Do you think it's going to be Skiatis? Do you think it's going to be an external or someone else internal? And what do you think Hans is handing to that successor? Do you agree with me, or do you disagree with me, or do you see it the same or different? Love to hear what you have to say on this. You all the voice of the people, the SMT Nation. Let your voice be heard.